everybody, I'm Danny Otto. Welcome into another episode of That Recap Show. Now, before we get into the episode, just wanted to issue major Beskar level spoiler alert. We are going to be going over everything that took place in this season finale of the Book of Boba Fett. So if you haven't checked that episode out yet, you may want to pause this video, head over to Disney Plus, watch that, and then come back and enjoy the breakdown. Now, with that out of the way, let's start the show.
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
Joining with me to break down everything that happened in the finale of the Book of Boba Fett, it's Jon Rico. Hey!
Hey.
Hey! Oh,
Hi.
hey!
Oh, hey.
So we have a little finale there.
Oh, damn.
So much happened. I am so excited. There's
Dude.
so much to get into. There are parts that, both of us loved and we're hoping for, and there are parts that, we wish, they had been a little different. But either way, it overall was an awesome finale. Let's go to instant reactions right away. Look, I had one. I had many reactions, don't get me wrong. But I had one instant reaction that just hit me immediately, and I had to mention it. So there's the scene where they're basically describing how they're going to have people patrolling and people kind of on the lookout to see if the Pyke reinforcements are coming to the planet. The whole time they're explaining this, it's basically happening in real time. That reminded me of a movie that did pretty much the exact same thing. They explained a plan, and as they were explaining the plan, it was already happening.
Casino security has an eye and an ear on everything, so we want an eye and an ear on them. Livingston?
Well, it's not the least accessible system I've seen, but it's close.
During that scene, it even seemed like they were using a very classic, techno-y style music. So just from the music, I was getting a feel of the Ocean's 11 kind of plan sequence during this episode. And I thought it was really cool because I liked that in Ocean's 11. I'm not saying it as like a critique or anything. I liked it in Ocean's 11. And I think it worked here too, because it wasn't like we're all sitting around blueprints or anything like that. We're seeing it in real time and they're explaining it. So I liked it. But that's just immediately what I thought of. And I don't want to go into any more instant reactions because there's so many other things I want to talk about. But Rico, what were some of your instant reactions from this episode?
I thought this was a pretty solid finale for the story that we got for this series. I had some problems with it, and it mainly has to do with kind of Mando and Grogu storyline kind of interrupting the flow, I think, of the story that they're trying to tell in Book of Boba Fett. I guess that was part of the story they were trying to tell, but I feel like I wanted more out of Boba's story because I feel like there was just some part in this finale that were rushed a little bit, maybe, for lack of a better word, including one particular moment that we'll talk about later on. But yeah, but I still thought there was it's action packed the entire hour-long episode. I didn't actually see how long the runtime was. Yeah, if you've ever seen a Robert Rodriguez movie, this is pretty much exactly what his movies are like. Just awesome action, kind of all over the place in terms of storytelling and kind of juggling things. But all in all, it was still pretty fun, and we had some pretty cool moments to still look back on and be like, wow, that's part of the Star Wars lore now. But so I can't complain overall with how the show wrapped up overall.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I was gonna say is that's kind of where we differ. Don't get me wrong, love Boba Fett as a character, and have for a long time, and stuff like that. Love Mando though, so I was just like, the more Mando you can give us in this series, the better. From the minute he popped up in one of the last few episodes, I was like, I just want Mandalorian seasons back now. So for me, it was like
yeah.
getting exactly what I wanted and everything. But I totally understand.
For sure. Like seeing them fighting together was like pretty awesome, of course, because you're seeing both of them like, at the height of their like fighting prowess, being able to just like take out a bunch of pikes and stuff like that. So that was pretty awesome to see. And I do think they did a good job of like tying in the stuff from Mando's episodes into what was going on into the finale. But I still kind of felt like there was just too much focus on like, let's get ready for season 3 of Mandalorian, as opposed to like, this is Boba Fett's story. It just at the end, it felt like his story got taken over by the overall like grander story that they're trying to tell with the Mandalorian.
We had jetpack buddies. We had wrist rocket buddy. Like we had every like,
yeah,
it was awesome. And then when we get the epic line from Mando, "This is the way," like, and then they just go out guns blazing. Man,
I do want to bring up one cool thing. Was the Scorpion droids that were like the updated droidicas from
exactly
from episode 1, 2, and 3. Of course, they're all over the prequels. Those are actually like deep cut references to like concept art for the droidicas back in the day. So like they've always done a good job like using like the unused concept designs of certain stuff and kind of integrating them into Star Wars in a different way. Like, of course, like if you had like a design for a protocol droid, they may not be what we know as protocol droids, like C-3PO, but you see another version of them in some other aspect, and like, oh yeah, that's just another design that they hadn't used, so we use it in this way. And like that's exactly what they did with the Scorpion droids. You see it with vehicles and stuff like that all the time. So like, it's always the little details in the show that make me appreciate it that much more.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that. And until they said the name of them in the actual episode, I actually had it written down that I was going to ask you, like, hey, does that have a name, or is it just like an updated droidica thing?
Yeah, I think they said it in the show, right?
Yeah, they said it in the episode.
I just picked up on that too. So, and then I watched a couple of videos before we started, and I think they picked up on it as well. So I always had to make sure I get my terms right.
Yeah. Anyway, you want to get to some big takeaways?
Let's roll.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to kick us off. We now officially have Grogu's decision. Immediately.
Yeah.
And I have to say this. So I had one reaction to both of my big takeaways. I had the same reaction.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! No! That is not happening right now! No!
That was my reaction as soon as we saw the X-Wing flying into Tatooine. We knew immediately that Grogu was coming back, but like there was part of my mind going, are we about to see Luke Skywalker on Tatooine for the first time since A New Hope? And like we were talking about this, we were going back and forth. We were like, I'm glad that they didn't do that, because we need a real, like, that would have been its own episode, kind of explaining the significance of him coming back and
I just didn't want it.
I know you just didn't want it, but for me, I'm just saying I was on your side because I didn't want it also, because if I was going to get it, I didn't want it to be a rushed thing. And that would have been a rushed thing if he just showed up in an X-Wing and dropped off Grogu and then left or whatever. So I was like, oh shit, we got R2-D2 basically driving the X-Wing.
Yeah.
Awesome. But we now know officially Grogu made his choice. He is now officially with Mando. We saw him with his armor and everything. And he basically, kind of saved the day. At least saved Mando from a renegade Rancor, which I will get into. Moving forward. But anyway, Rico, what's your first big takeaway?
Grogu showing up like that and Peli Motto just like taking him in the middle of like an all-out war in the middle of the city is like his worst babysitter move maybe of all time.
She showed up and was like, "Oh hey, guess what I have?"
I wasn't huge on that, to be honest. I kind of wanted Grogu to stay out of danger. I kind of wanted that reunion to be safe for season 3, to be honest. And yeah, it was kind of like, let's just throw in some force powers to throw in some force powers for this finale. But it's another Kylo Ren kind of tie in there, because it's another time we see the force being used to put something to sleep, which we've seen Kylo use, and he does it pretty effortlessly to Rey at one point. He just literally goes like whoop, and she falls asleep. So it's pretty dope how they can do that. And I think it's just like another thing that kind of they have a lot of similarities though to those two characters. I feel like at this point now their ties to Luke, their force abilities and stuff like that. Like it's very, very interesting now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, so we got something that we've been I would assume a lot of Star Wars fans have been waiting to see for a long time, especially with the infamous deleted Clone Wars scene that's out there of these two. But we finally got Boba Fett versus Cad Bane in like an amazing confrontation. The first one was pretty good alone when it was the negotiation between the two, which was like seeing them kind of face to face on screen together was pretty cool, and you can kind of feel the history between those two without them having to outright say it. Like like the little like kind of digs they put on each other. And of course, like Cad Bane just loves stirring the pot with bringing up the information that he got from the Pikes of them taking out the Tuscans, and it just makes Boba ready to draw his weapon, and he's like, "Oh, please make my day." That's like that was all Cad Bane was saying. But Fennec Shan being the voice of reason, kind of as always for Boba, like don't do that. You're doing this with emotion. Like save it for another time. And yeah, that another time came during the big battle, and we finally got that big standoff between the two. And Cad Bane kicks his ass pretty handily with some shots. Like he's fast. He told him, "I'm faster than you," and Boba's like, "Yeah, you're right," and he showed it. But coming full circle with the whole, that personal dig at him, the thing that comes back to save Boba at the end of the day, the gaffy stick, which is pretty cool because it's helped save him against Krrsantan when he got rushed against him. And of course, it's always been the thing that like it helped him kick all those stormtroopers' asses back in Mandalorian when we saw him in that big scene back then. So the fact that kind of came back and was the literal like nail in the coffin for Cad Bane. Rest in peace to one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time. It was a fitting end for that character, I thought, because boy, in Clone Wars, we saw him killing clones left and right, like no issue. And at the end, he met his end by a clone, and a clone that he had probably the biggest personal beef with out of anyone. So yeah, it was like pretty amazing storytelling on that character's part. But also, we still have like 20 plus ish years of story gap with him, because I think the last time we see him is Bad Batch. So he could still show up in some like earlier stories. Maybe Kenobi. Who knows? Maybe someone hired him to go look for Luke or something like that, and Kenobi was like, "Get out of here." Because yeah, he's had some run-ins, but hey, rest in peace, Cad Bane, man. We love you. I wish we could have used you a little bit more in this show, but you did good, man. You did good.
All right. You ready? You ready for my last big takeaway? The Book of Boba finale. Oh shit. Takeaway of the episode. And the reason I say that is I have been asking for this since the moment that we had the Rancor be brought into the series. Basically, I've been asking for this. And this episode gave it to me. The oh shit takeaway of the episode is Boba riding Rancor into battle. It was everything I wanted. No notes. I mean, I like once he immediately gets kind of scared away, basically, so that they can then have the Boba Fett showdown. He then basically becomes King Kong. Like that's
yeah, I mean, you do a straight up shot from King Kong.
I know.
Yeah,
it's straight up Rancor King Kong at that point. But I got exactly what I wanted. I asked for that, and they did not disappoint. It was for the scenes that we had Boba Fett riding his Rancor in battle. It was awesome. They were working as a team. The Rancor was getting rid of the Scorpion droid. Like it was awesome. It was everything I wanted. It was everything I wanted. I can't say anything more.
We were talking about this earlier, but how cool would it be if there was a Funko of Grogu sleeping next to the Rancor, kind of like a little movie moment style pop.
Movie moment.
Snuggle Pop, basically.
That would be awesome. So that was
Yeah.
your selection for Pop
Mhm.
of this. I said that I wanted a jumbo Rancor Pop. So like
Yeah.
not like the 10-inch. I'm talking like the 18 inchers, like the really, really big Funko Pops. They only have a few of them that they've made. I think we were counting these. There's like a Batman, a Pikachu, a Groot in the pot, Iron Man, and there might be one other one. But think about that. Like having the 18-inch Rancor Funko Pop would
With
be
Boba on top.
yeah, with a normal size pop with Boba on top.
Yeah.
It would be
That
incredible.
would be sick.
Funko, you need to make this. We'll cut this out
Yeah.
and just
Really?
start tagging people.
Get in touch with people that you know and then have them do it. Even though, I'm sure you still know people over there.
Yeah. We'll tweet this out. We'll get all that.
Yeah.
All right. So, you ready for some predictions?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Why don't you kick us off? Because I honestly think we kind of had the same kind of idea after the season finale. So,
okay, so cool. Like Mandalorian's happening. That's all gonna. That's yeah. Hype for Mandalorian season 3. Well, first we got Kenobi coming up, so let's hold our horses on the Mando hype because Kenobi's happening, people. Okay. So if you got sick of Tatooine in this show, sucks because we're going right back there with Kenobi. But really kind of the big reveal of this episode is in the after credit scene here where we learn that Cobb Vanth is in fact alive. Like, ooh, shocker. He is in the back to tank at Boba's palace now. I almost want to say Jabba's palace, but really now is Boba's palace. Remember at the end, that ending scene when they're talking about, oh, is someone's using the back to tank? And I'm like, oh, it must be Krrsantan. And then we see Krrsantan. I'm like, who's in the back to tank now? And then I was like, oh, it's there we go. It's Cobb Vanth. And it looks like he's going to become a mod, basically, with the dude from Suicidal Tendencies. Is that, I think that's where the band he's from. Yeah, he's like the dude that, like, he saved Fennec. I feel like Boba's going to get bored here on Tatooine now that there's peace. And, even when like people were giving him fruit and bowing and stuff like that, he was like already kind of getting annoyed with it. He goes, I don't know if I can do this like all the time. Like I feel like he's really comfortable with conflict in some regard. Like as much as he wants peace, part of him needs conflict to like kind of keep himself sharp. I feel like I think that's important to him. So of course, I think this really sets up him being able to go off world in future projects. Of course, Mandalorian season 3 is probably where we'll see him next. Hopefully in a season 2, if we get that. We haven't really gotten any confirmation on that yet. But if Mos Espa needs somebody to lead them while he's gone, boom, Cobb Vanth is still around. His people of Freetown now have a bigger city that they can actually like live in, and they can thrive. And Sanctuary is kind of open for the tanking for that bartender that lives in Freetown and stuff like that. So if there's a season 2, there's really a lot that you can build off of going forward. Even if Boba again is not like the main focus of it, you have so many great supporting characters in Tatooine. Like you got like Book of Tatooine, give me that. Like I want to hold like Tatooine show where you can just like throw in like anthology style, like you throw in an episode about different aspects of Tatooine into one season, and maybe they all congregate into one, almost like What If.
I like it.
Where it all congregates into one storyline, something like that. But yeah, so like maybe Mos Espa becomes the new Freetown or something like that for Cobb and his people. Maybe they don't call it Freetown, but that can be their new home. That's kind of where I'm going with that. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with my predictions. They're mainly Book of Boba Fett related. Like, of course, I can go into a lot of Mando stuff, but I think we all know where that's going too. Him and them going to Mandalore and stuff like that.
I cannot wait. So yeah, like I said, we kind of we're very similar on that. You're more of like, calm down with the hype for Mandalorian season 3. I'm all about the hype for Mandalorian season 3. I'm like, that ending, that should have been the teaser ending, was when they just go boom and zoom off into everything. I was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I almost forgot that there was kind of rumors that there was going to be something after credit, basically. And so like we were talking about this before we started filming, those should have been reversed, because
oh yeah,
it is a tease. That's straight up a tease for Mandalorian season 3. And Cobb, being in the tank is basically a tease of hopefully things to come in a season 2 of the Book of Boba Fett. Because I mean, that's where he's primarily going to pop up. If he's going to pop up anywhere, it's going to be on Tatooine. And that's, kind of been the domain of the Book of Boba Fett. But I absolutely agree with you, though. If we do get a second season, I would really like to see Boba being able to kind of leave the responsibility of kind of keeping everything together on Mos Espa with Cobb Vanth, and then him kind of having the freedom to do more off-world stuff, because I think that would be a very interesting thing. I think it would open up more opportunity, whether he's going to track down, other stuff that he needs to try to kind of figure out. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't touch on this. What if there's a conflict with the Hutts? And that could bring him off world.
Yeah, I actually had something like that in my head too. Like, we should be going to Nal Hutta maybe next season. Like, they could be the next player. Yeah, we were actually talking about that earlier. I should have mentioned it.
I was shocked you didn't mention it, but
totally. I should have wrote it down. That's probably my own fault. But yeah, I think the Hutts being like a bigger player in season 2 is a perfect route to go storytelling wise. And going to Nal Hutta, like their home world, would be freaking awesome.
but I just like that. If we now have kind of this harmony-ish in place now in Mos Espa, it means that we can have, it opens the door for more off-world adventures for Boba, whether they do have a conflict with the Hutts and it brings them off-world, or something else happens and can bring them off-world. It kind of turns more into something that works, I think, where we get to see like adventures with Boba and Fennec, hopefully still, because I really enjoy those two together. So I'd really like to keep seeing Boba and Fennec together, no matter where it takes them. And then the Mandalorian season 3. I cannot express this enough how excited I am for that. And just having Grogu and Mando zip off into the sunset. I mean, I realize that every sun is there, like they're all stars, but just the expression blast off into the sunset is just an epic way of like, so much stuff's gonna happen in the next season. Like, it's so exciting. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I can't wait.
Me neither, man. It's gonna be fun.
But anyway, that's what we think of the finale. Let us know in the comments below. What did you think of the finale? What are you hoping to see if we do get a season 2 of the Book of Boba Fett? And what do you think about season 3 of The Mandalorian, just on the teases that we've got during a particular season of the Book of Boba Fett? And as always, don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about all of our video releases. Bye, everybody!